I'm posted at the mounds and I got the feathers up. I better make it down. Hey, Robot, we're about to crack heads and twist caps. I wonder why it's I gotta figure out how to get this. I guess you gotta be right up on it, man, to get it to do work good. Man, God dog. All right. Hey man, we about to roll those intros for you, man. Robot. Shout out Sun Rob, man. Hey Sun Rob, we about to be up on you, man. I'm talking about like here shortly. We're about to make that move, baby. But let's roll that intro. And as always, like I say, you gotta be in a certain prior position to get the feedback. Okay, yeah. Like I say, we about to have Chief Cognac in the building. We about to roll that intro.
Young L on the beat.
Hey, hit that like. Why? Skype tape at the North Gate. Free Baba Yanoon, you heard me? Free Larry Hoover. Free Jeff Ford. Free Rashard Jamal, you heard me? Yeah. Uh-huh. We gonna keep it clean, baby. That last one, you heard me? You in your car, I know that beat slamming, you heard me? That beat slamming in the car, right? Uh-huh. Broadcasting live from the belly of the beast. Always keeping it clean. Uh-huh. Hey, Robot, if you're new to the channel, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Hey, I'm posted at the mounds and we got the feathers up. You hear me? Right? They know who we are. They know who we are, bro. They knew we was coming back. So they hiding in their bunkers. Universal energy about to get served. You never get up out of here. You never build a bird. Hey, we got Skype Ape in the building, Chief Rod Hayes. Y'all. About to get a cracker. And check this. Like I say, we got a whole bunch of people in the building that's gonna be, disgruntled on the word more. But like I say, young elder, I'm a different type of being. I take in perspectives. I don't like to disagree with people. I just hear what they have to say. Do your research. If they got receipts, you know what I'm saying? You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta check their receipts. If the brother got receipts on it, you gotta check those receipts, man. You can't just, say the brother don't know what he's talking about without checking the receipts. I'm about to just take this screen out. Uh I think Raw got to go in and come back out. but I don't know. I don't like this one. It ain't working good. Let me change that back screen. Let's see. How about that one? That one ain't working good. All right. Like just have to roll like that. Yeah, we're just gonna roll like that there. All right. We got Chief in the building. Hold up, let's get him back in. We got Chief in the building. All right. Yes, sir. Hey,
Keep
Rod.
them girl, I'm loving your headdress, man. It's
Oh yeah.
making me feel real matriarchic up in this. I mean, patriotic up in here.
Hey, when I get to Atlanta, I'm gonna see you one of these when I get to Atlanta. So because the place is one of the places in Atlanta that make them. Uh what I was gonna say, okay, yeah, it's man, we got a couple head turners. We gotta keep it clean, YouTube, because they didn't like the last one, bro. They didn't
So
like the last.
let's
Go ahead.
start this off with what's called a caveat.
Okay.
Caveat means a warning or a disclaimer.
Okay.
A lot of people think I'm just totally anti-Moor, but I
Okay.
love Noble Drew Ali.
Okay.
Make it make sense,
Right. Go ahead.
right? So Noble Drew Ali gave me something to do. And the only reason why he gave it to me to do, because I'm the only one that understood the assignment.
Okay.
When you go back to what he said, how many more is gonna make it? How he can count them on one hand and have fingers left, right?
Yep. Go ahead.
And he ain't talking about us,
Go ahead.
right? He said the only thing that surprised me if more did what?
Right.
Okay, so he's telling me something.
Yeah.
Okay, so now remember the George Washington challenge, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I told y'all it's a conjure war, and the conjure war is predicated upon education and erudition of the
Mm-hmm.
self,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They said in the George Washington challenge that in 200 years that we not gonna know which side of the water that we came from.
Mm-hmm.
We not gonna be able to tell the Negropeans from the so-called Indians at the time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Ain't that what they said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now when I come out and I say, hey, we've been infiltrated,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now they set these organizations up so we can see where the infiltration coming from.
Mm-hmm.
The original perception of white supremacy is that it was people that don't look nothing like none of us doing all of the dirt to us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now
Mm-hmm.
remember, Chief Warhorse said that she had never heard of a Moor till they started asking her about the Moors.
Go ahead.
And when she went back to check, she found them to be what? Europeans.
Go ahead.
Dark skinned Europeans. She said black Europeans is what she said.
That's facts. Go
I go,
ahead.
well, so what is she talking about?
Go
So
ahead.
how do we get to this term being a catch term? First, we got to know what a catch term is. So let's pull up the receipts and tell the people what a catch term is.
I got you.
See, this is part of what they was doing to keep us from figuring it out by keeping us bound to the dogma. Well, we coming with receipts to bypass the dogma using the moral compass of just doing what's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's gotta be one of these at the bottom, I think. Boom, boom, boom. Hit that like.
I'm
I
gonna
told
answer
y'all
this question
we ain't
since you
raw. We like
picked
to
it
drop
up.
it. Let's go right there,
So
bro. I got you. Oh
yeah, right,
yeah.
but right before we get into this, I want to answer this question because the Lenny want to know: is there a holy oath or seal placed on Big Mama's seat at the Vatican, and if so, are the enemy using proxies to substitute the energy? The seal is this: if one man with a Y chromosome and they can cross dressing, take out his penis, whatever they want to do. If he got a Y chromosome and he's sitting Big Mama's seat, the gig is up. They lost. Period. That
Facts.
was the seal on her seat. That's why they raised it up so high off the ground. And so no man don't, like the janitor don't come in sweeping the floor, get tired and say, well, I'm gonna sit in this big ass chair. Right? Because if a Y chromosome sit in it, it activate like a fail-safe emergency relief system.
Okay.
That's why they raised it up. Now the Pope slid his little dusty ass seat right up under Big Mama seat, because they can stop you from putting Big Mama back on it as long as you don't know that she's been subverted, undermined. Okay. She's been Jacobin.
Okay.
Right? She's been victimized by the Jacobites.
Go ahead.
All right. Now, back to the George Washington challenge. You can drop that now because it's distracted to me. I keep going on that subject for the whole show. Not that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The question.
Okay. Okay. The question. Okay. All right. I got you. I got to go back. Let me do this. Boom. Boom. All right. Boom. Got you.
Okay. So what does a catch mean in slang? Now, in slang, if someone tell you there's a catch, it means there's a complication. Right? Okay. But if a person is a catch, he or she make a good romantic partner. Right? So this is one of the terms or meanings of catch.
Okay.
Right? Now, the first definition for the slang is the complication. This is where we at with it. Okay. Now, it's another one, another definition on another one, another slide, Elder, that goes into what a catchword, catchphrase. Now, a catchphrase is a word or expression that is used repeatedly and conveniently to represent or characterize a person, a group, idea, or point of view. Right?
Like, okay. Like black. Black is a catch term. Go ahead.
Yep. So it's another one. I think I sent you another definition. That one right there, catch-all term. A catch-all term is a catch-all is a term or category which includes many different things. This is critical to understanding why the term more is a catch term.
Okay.
This part right here, right? And now I think it's one more on this topic. Right here, the meaning of a catchword. A word or phrase that is often repeated by or becomes connected with a particular organization, especially a political group.
Go ahead.
Now, if it's the George Washington challenge and this sucker supposed to be the first president, that automatically makes it a political activity. Now, when we're looking at the word Moor, Benjamin Franklin said, why should the Palatine Moors be suffered to swarm into our settlements? They will never adopt our customs any more than they can obtain our complexion, right? Yep. All of Africa, Asia, and America are swarthy black. Russia, Italy, Spain, France, Sweden. Now you notice the separation.
Yeah.
First it was continents.
Yeah.
Now it's going into countries in a different continent from the three stated continents.
Go ahead. I see.
Right? These are European peoples that he's calling. The Russians, right? The Italians, right? Spain, France, Swedes. Now we know Swedes to be the Morgan Swedish people.
Yeah.
Right? Which are closely related to the Dutch with the wooden shoes and all that. And the Germans are black.
Go ahead.
You see that? They specifically say they black. Now watch this. The principal whites. Now you see the word principal?
Yeah.
That's a key word in this sentence. Right? The principal whites, that's the ones that's being held tight to the center to feed off of, are made up of Saxons and the English.
Okay.
The Scots, Welsh, and Irish are not Saxon or English. So they tell you that them people from Scotland and the Welsh and the Saxons are not Saxons or English. Well, what are they? The Scottish, the Welsh, and the Irish. What are they if they're not Saxon or English? Right? When Benjamin Franklin writes this essay in 1751, the Black German king, George II, is sitting on the throne of England.
Yep, that's George the Second. That's King George the first. I mean King George the Third dad.
Mm-hmm.
Not his dad, his granddad. His granddad. Go ahead.
Now let's go to Google for a minute and let's find out. Type in King George in America, and let's just see what the little headlines come up. King George II in America. Some of this stuff gonna blow y'all wig back when we get. So give them the twisted cap warning, Elder.
Oh yeah, hey, make sure you take that ball cap off and lay it to the side, man. We ain't no reimbursement on no cap, man. We ain't giving no cap. We ain't sending you the money back for no good ball cap if you just purchased. So take your ball cap off and get your hard hat on. You know what I'm saying? And get ready for this head cracking non-stop George. Okay, King George. Non-stop cracking information, man. Told y'all that boy Roy be telling you every time. Every time, bro. Alright. British. Okay. Okay. You want me to do the images?
No, just scroll down. Let's see what they say about him in America. His American connection. You see where it said in that little line that said King George in the United States? You passed it already.
Oh, okay. King George.
See them lines right there?
Right there. It's King George the Third, not the second. Okay. Signed a charter creating a colony in Georgia in 1832. 1832.
1732, ain't it?
1732, my bad.
Okay, now this is important. Notice where the colony at.
Georgia.
Right. Now scroll up so they can see what we're reading. Okay, now let's say right there. It says, what did King George II do to the colonies? Right. Now this is the same King George we talking about when Benjamin Franklin making this statement, and he's sitting on the throne in England.
Go ahead.
Right. Now he's sitting on the throne. He the king.
Right.
All right. Now, in here, it says King George II signed the charter creating the colony of Georgia in 1732. I can't see enough to read. James something persuaded the king. I can't see it. It's too small for me to read.
England needed a buffer between South Carolina and Spanish Florida. So Georgia became the first, Spanish Florida with the Seminoles.
Now, what's important is the buffer between. It was between. What did he say?
It says the king
that between South Carolina
and Spanish Florida.
Right. Now, the reason this is Spanish Florida is Gullah Wars.
Yep, that's right. Go ahead.
Right. So the Gullahs, they ain't to be effed with. Okay, now go back to the statement by okay, now 1751. Okay, so now you got a time frame that we working with.
Black German King George. Oh, I said this. I put a whole tape out called about King George III. That he was, the boss.
Okay,
Moors
go back up. Go back up for a minute, Elder. The principal whites are made up of the Saxons and the English.
Go ahead.
But they can't be talking about King George because right here it tell you he black.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Now I sent you another one. It might be the
King,
next receipt.
yeah, King George was from Welch. His dad was from Welch. They were Palestinians, the Afar people, the Afar from Ethiopia, that area right there. Them Afar people. They migrated to that area. There was the Welch, the Williams, King George Williams. They were Williams.
Okay,
Yeah.
blow this up, and we're gonna. A
Damn, Rod, you
member
getting
of Northwestern African Muslim people of mixed Berber and Arab descent. In the 8th century, they conquered the Iberian Peninsula, but were finally driven out of their last stronghold in Granada at the end of the 15th century. That's the 1600s. No, the
Yep.
1400s.
Yep. 1492.
Right now, scroll down to the root word. You see that? Remember what
No.
Baba told us in that Moor study class? He said they
Right.
was mortals,
Yep.
right?
Brown skin.
Which
Mm-hmm.
which is an inhabitant of Mauritania. Do we
Mm-hmm.
go any more? Is there any more on there?
That's it. That's how far as it goes. Got Latin down here. Hold on, yeah, it's got as far as it go.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, this here tell you where did the word come from. The word derives from the Latin term morus, first used by the Romans to denote an inhabitant of the Roman province of Mauritania, comprising the western portion of present day Algeria and the northeastern portion of present day Morocco. The 11th and 13th century were not peaceful in the Maghreb,
Okay.
right? Now, they being kicked out of Europe, driven to the Maghreb, and they
Right.
having conflicts with the people that's already there,
Go ahead. You on them, Rod. You on them.
right? So now they know they can't stay there. So they got to find another homeland.
Okay.
The term Moor is an exonym first used by Christian Europeans to designate the Muslim inhabitants of the Maghreb, the Iberian Peninsula, Sicily, and Malta during the Middle Ages. The Moors initially were the indigenous Maghrebine Berbers.
Okay.
The name was later also applied to Arabs and Arabized Iberians. When they say Arabized Iberians, those are European slaves that was brought into Al Maghreb by the Moors. The most famous was Tipotia.
Go ahead. We got them.
Right now, before we go any further, you see that word exonym in purple?
Yeah, at the top.
Let's go to Google and see what an exonym is. So remember, you got synonyms, you got homonyms, you got antonyms, and now you got exonyms.
A name for a place, a group, or people that is only used outside the place or group.
That means that it's not a term that the people chose themselves. That means that it's a term somebody gave them. Let's go back to the receipts.
Oh yeah, that's fire, Rod. Rod cracking heads. Also, the term Arab means to roam, like people that went from place to place. They ain't have.
Wanderer.
Yeah.
All right, now, Moors are not a distinct or self defined people.
Crack heads.
Moors are not a distinct or self defined people. The 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica observed that the term had no real ethnological value. Let's go look up the word ethnological because a lot of people ain't never heard that word in their life. Now remember, they say the word has no real ethnological value.
study of a characteristic of various people and the difference and relationship between them. Uh,
In other words, the term has no real value to define who a people is in and of itself,
yeah, yeah, I'm with you.
right?
Somebody, yeah,
So it's an exonym thrust up on them that has no real ethnological value. Europeans of the Middle Ages and the early modern period variously applied the name to Arabs, North African Berber, as well as Muslim Europeans, right?
hey, yeah. Hey, can
I'm,
I add
I'm just
some?
saying now.
Hey, can
Let's
I
go.
add some? Hey,
Yep.
hey, from for to the person in the chat, Big Scoop, I think. He said, "Then what the heck is MUUR more?" Now that's it. That's still a catch to him too. MUUR is still a catch to
Mm-mm.
him too.
It's a different word from a different linguistic source.
Yeah, it's from the Akkadic from one who's of Aura of Chaldea, right?
You looking at it as if it's from the
Now,
from the Middle
now,
East.
let me finish. Let me finish. Let me tell you. Okay, all right. So the word is still a catch term because other people were calling them that. They wasn't calling themselves that. These people were saying that these people were from Chaldea. They were ones of Chaldea or Ar, the city of Ar. So the people that was calling them that was Nigerians. They were saying that these are people that came from the land of Aura. So they said more. But it still was a catch term because it's based on the definition that you given because it was other people calling them that. Like then it goes into the Morenos, into the French or the Greek, meaning dark skinned people. But go ahead. I just wanted to add that, but it's still a catch term, even the MUUR term coming from somebody else based on this definition right here of what a catch term is. Somebody else was calling them still people from Chaldea or you know what I'm saying? These 200 fallen or these three, it was really 200 fallen. Then they were captains, but it was other beings that came down with them, right? I just wanted to add that part for the people that's I think Roy got a phone call, but he'll come back. Yeah, but so yeah, but all of it is catch term because these people didn't call themselves Moors. Really, it was other people that referred to them when they saw these people come and they knew what land they were from, they said that these people came from Aura, so they just started calling them Moors. One who's of Chaldea,
Right.
that's what it really
So
means. Yeah.
what you speaking of is a Middle Eastern linguistic stock,
Okay.
right? What we call Indo Arabic tongue or Indo Semitic linguistics.
Mhm. Mhm.
In that sense, the word mu meaning derived from a place,
Mhm.
meaning the place, the city of fire, in reference, those are
Exactly.
Chaldeans.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what they
Right.
call
But
them. Yep.
now you do have the word written in the Incan record from a whole different linguistic stock
Okay.
that doesn't carry the same definition or meaning as it does coming from the those Arabic lines of the Middle East. This is
Okay. Go ahead.
what they do is okay. So you mirror the terms that you want to exploit later
Okay.
in a different part of the world.
Mhm.
You give the first because whoever originally using it is charging it alchemically to have
Okay.
a effect when people's minds perceive
Facts.
the word,
That's facts.
right? So when the Babylonian blood magic, money magic, and sex magic comes from the city of Ur
Mhm.
of the old Chaldee, right? And the Chaldean people, when you translate the name Chaldean, it means people of the flame,
That's right. That. Yeah. That's
right?
right.
But you don't see the word in the name,
That's right.
which means fire in that language,
That's right. That's right.
right? So whatever it is in the descriptive translation of the word Chaldee that makes it means people of the flame does not match with the source of the fire. That
Hey,
mean they foreigners.
that's right.
They
Hey,
foreigners to the region that adopted the region. This is a whole
right.
different. Now we looking at stuff in 2023, but we looking at something from 5,000 BC,
Yeah, that's right.
right? So what we looking at, you have to mentally project into the time period. What's going on at this time in that place in the world, but also in other places in the world.
Go ahead.
Over here, we singing, swinging, getting married like Christmas. We Mardi Gras second lining up and down this motherfucker with feathers on.
That's right. That's right.
We use feathers because the feathers are given to us by the birds in order for us to honor nature. It don't have nothing to, the metals was what the ones who was foreign to earth wanted. They wanted to come to earth to get the unobtainium gold. Right? So what did they do? They created avatars and jumpsuits that look like humans. Right? And then they go lay down in cryostasis and use a mind projector transfer. They just told you the whole story in a documentary that they call Avatar.
Go ahead. That's right. That's right.
Now
Pocahontas
watch
story.
this. The terminologies tie back to the events, cowboys and aliens.
Go ahead.
What no pale skinned cowboys for real, for real. The real cowboys, that's Chief Warhorse family and all of them who kept the horse farms.
That's right.
That's who the real cowboys was. Right? Those were your ones who was in the native clan who used the buffalo as the totem that they turned it into a different thing. When they say buffalo soldier, they make you think these was a whole different group of big people.
Right.
These was the natives who honored the buffalo as their family totem, and these are the cowboys.
Go ahead.
They was already riding horseback.
That's right. Bareback.
Right? They was already riding horseback. We was already had horse farms.
That's facts.
We didn't have cattle farms because we ate bison off
Go
the
ahead.
plains according to the need, not according to the greed.
Facts. Facts.
Okay, now let's go back. When they set up over there, before they set up, they studied the culture of the earth.
Right.
Right? When they studied the culture of the earth, they seen the languages we spoke. And so they derived languages using terminologies and terms.
Right.
Right? And then they come back and they tell us this bull story. And then they try to make things that as mirrors be the same thing, because if you don't notice, the mirrors is set up on both sides of the ocean.
Facts.
So Houthi did that when he settled what we call today Egypt, modern Kemet, or the Nile Valley. Right? The Nile River was a dredge that was done to reroute the river to drain into the Mediterranean to cover up a crater from a bomb.
Go ahead. Yep.
This was from the Vermanus Wars.
Yeah.
Right? So this is not a new war. It's just a new phase of the war. Now, microcosm, macrocosm. They replayed the same thing with the words when they divided the languages so that they can control the people. But the hardest thing for them to do was to get our mothers to stop using telepathy to help us.
Go ahead.
So the only way they could do that was to tell you to put a wedge between you and your mama, you and your daddy.
Go ahead.
Right? You draw strength from your daddy, but you draw the wisdom to navigate the world from your mama.
Go ahead.
She give you your code, your earth code to navigate the earth through her mitochondria. Even though she's not in physical form, she's still driving with you. co-piloting you as your wisdom. Them the lessons your mama gave you that activated certain parts of your DNA. Because she teach you in a certain way, it's going to cultivate your character so your nature and your nurture becomes both enhanced to the greatest possibility. Right? So when they ascribe the term Mu, meaning the designated location from, that is derived from Sumerian language.
Yeah.
As well as the word right? Their language is written in what's called cuneiform wedge script.
Go ahead.
Right? Now, for some reason, the old man who lived in sub-Saharan Africa and Zimbabwe sent a distress call and told the chief over here, Tahuti, hey man, we got invasion taking place. Where is it at? It was in Northeast Africa.
Okay, go ahead.
Right? Down into the left.
Go ahead.
Right? So they cutting you off at the knee. Down into the left. Because we know south is up because it get the most sun.
Go ahead.
Right? If it get the most sun, that means it's the most portion of it that's to the sun. And we know we had a 23-degree axis.
Go ahead.
Right? So if we had a 23-degree axis and they can get 32 degrees of knowledge, and then they get honored because they got 32 with an honorary 1 1/3 degree to give you a 33 degree master mason.
Go ahead.
What is they building? Right? They building an obstacle.
Go ahead.
Right? It's called a ziggurat.
Go ahead.
To rival what we was building as a energy grid around the planet that we call mirrors, MIR, but today they call them pyramids, fire in the middle. Now you know what they was trying to blow up, the pyramids, to take the energy grid offline that enhanced your mitochondrial resonance that allowed you to perceive the presence of the imposters.
Hey, Rod, could I respond to this dude real quick? Hey, can you hear me, Rod?
Damn. Yeah, I was reading this story. I was reading this question.
Okay, so I just want to add this part because the extraterrestrial part about these 200 fallen that came from Mars. They had plutonium. They brought plutonium from Pluto with them. This explosive. That's the same people that when Elijah Muhammad talk about this scientist that came and disagreed with the people on the planet, and he decided to drill down and put plutonium and blow part of the earth off. These the same people, these Tridacodites.
Okay, stop right there, Elder, because you just hit on the key point.
Go ahead.
Remember, I told y'all that the great planet destroyer weapon was called the Gandiva.
Okay, go ahead, crack heads.
The Gandiva was used by Tahuti to split this, because if my sisters can't have it, I would destroy it all.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when they was trying to, so we had to find an alternative war.
Okay.
The planet splitter is what we know as the great planetary crash, because not only did the planet splitter go off, but two bodies collide. What we know today we call the great collision, the great Tiamat destruction.
That's right. Go ahead.
Right? This is when everything was tropical.
Go ahead.
Wasn't no polar caps. Everything was tropical. Because of the splitting of the planet with the Gandiva, this causes us now to be on a smaller planet with the remaining parts of Earth that fell off, with other planets make up something called the Great Bracelet or the asteroid belt.
Go ahead.
Right? The signs of the war is present on Mars, on several moons of Jupiter and Saturn, throughout, because there was a lot going on in what we call prehistoric times. There's many things not recorded on paper, but it's recorded in the strata of the earth as a resonant frequency, and we call that Akashic records. And you can read this by waking up your DNA, and your mitochondria will come online, and you will be, Mother Earth will talk to you like you talking like me and like we are now.
Go ahead.
She'll tell you who did what because she been here the whole time. And she come through as energy frequency through the elder women in the family, right?
Yeah,
And the
just keep going, bro.
roots is the young maiden. She comes through from the roots on a grounding process from the little girls walking around. That creates an arch between the elder and the youth. This arch is what we travel on to reincarnate. Right. So now if you go to the X-Men, they show what's my man name? The big villain, the planet destroyer, I mean the world destroyer dude, Apocalypse.
Yeah, the one that yeah.
Right. You see him in between space and time, and he's walking on this arc.
Okay.
But it's actually a flat line there. If you go to the movie Thor, they show them coming from Asgard over the arch.
Go ahead.
Right? This is what they're talking about. Between the life cycles, you can jump to where you need to go.
Go ahead.
We don't need the body to see all that. We just need to expand the mind, expand the consciousness. Right? So when we start looking at the Gandiva planet destroyer in the Vimanas, these were not the Moor people.
Go ahead.
These was the ones they called the Nagas, Nagas, the Nagas.
That's right. Go ahead.
Right. These were today what we call Dravidians, untouchables, them Afro-Wan MFs in India.
Go ahead.
Right. The ones that look like they look like the Jacksons.
Yeah, slick looking cats. I know what they look like. Yeah.
Right. They were the Nagas kings before the fall of India. These was the ones who was fighting the hordes. This is what all of the wars in these Hindu tablets is talking about. Now listen, is the Bhagavad Gita, where it's talking about, is Arjuna talking to Lord Krishna about the war he's watching that's unfolding.
Go ahead.
And what he can't figure out is why members of the same family is fighting on opposite sides of the war.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Krishna explains it to him. Basically, they split the family and pit the two sides of the family, the mother line and the father line, against each other.
Go ahead. You own it. You own it.
Right. And as long as they can keep the beef going, the family can't unite. Therefore, there is no redemption. But you got to find the ones who came in the mix to separate the families and how they did it. The side effect to you learning that is you become obligated to explain to the people what took place in order for them to end up in this condition. And Tupac vexed the grievance in the public domain. Somebody got to come explain to me why I ain't got much.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Did he say it?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So somebody got to explain it. Well, I got to investigate because he called for me. And in my investigation, same thing Noble Drew Ali said, or showed, or taught, however you want to look at it. Same thing Garvey showed, exhibited, led, and taught. Same with Elijah Muhammad.
Go ahead.
They gave you the blueprint to unravel the mystery of the ages. Who is God?
Go ahead.
Right? As long as you looking and you believe that a man is God, you're going to always be under the jurisdiction of what we call a ruler God that's not the creator.
Mm-hmm.
You are operating under a secondary set of rules. This is how you get from under the law of the land and end up under admiralty law. You go from being a matriarchal people to patriarchs dominating. But not just regular patriarchs, rogue patriarchs. And rogue is an anagram for rouge. Rouge means red, so it's a red lodge knock.
Go ahead.
So if the message is coming in off the red lodge, my brothers in the red lodge at the highest levels, them the ones I got to ask who did it.
Go ahead.
And they gonna say, don't ask who did it. You already can look back and see history. You tell the people who did it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
They look like us, but they ain't us.
That's right.
This is the George Washington conjure breaker here.
That's right.
The word Moor was ascribed after the word Negro in order to figure out, after the word Indian, they made up tribes, changed the name from the original tribes, and gave us exonyms.
Go ahead.
A lot of these tribes as fuck.
Dang, they chop
right?
you up.
But I can't worry about the real tribe or the fake tribe. I got to worry about now taking advantage of what any tribe has to offer and using it as part of the remedy for the people. The fake tribes become ceremonial in nature. So they end up becoming instrumental to liberation. Now we got our numbers up.
Go ahead.
Right? They was being exploited. Those pale-faced Europeans at Ellis Island was being exploited. That's why they brought them over here.
Facts. Facts. Let's get it.
Right? But when they got over here, we don't play that. But they try to make you believe that we was the biggest slaveholders and it was them the whole time. They was coming over here with pale-skinned slaves. So we had to go into this conjure war, and New Orleans got the coldest conjure men and conjure women that you ever want to see.
Facts.
Them was the advisors to Duddy Bookman and Toussaint L'Ouverture and the priestesses on how to beat the French in Haiti.
Go ahead.
Right? Who else beat the French?
Go ahead.
The only other general on the land beat the French was Chief Pontiac.
Go ahead.
Now that we got them suckers out the way, somebody still don't belong.
Let's get it.
When we say, okay, look back on the history books and tell me what you see. So in the 200 years George Washington challenge, they ascribed us the term Moor. Here go. This is where you know they making it up on the fly.
Go ahead.
Noble Drew Ali had the 5-point star on the red flag made for him.
Go ahead.
And this shows you the level of power that this go to. Because they were scared that we would use and read the 5 principles of the 5-pointed star: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Exactly. And we would know to point over there to Morocco. They stole Noble Drew Ali flag to prove it even before I said it.
Go ahead.
They steal Noble Drew Ali flag and it becomes the national flag of Morocco. Noble Drew Ali had it first.
Go ahead.
Let's go prove it. Go to Google. Type, when was the Moroccan flag made? Noble Drew Ali had it before them. This is how they crossed the lines in history to confuse the people. Now remember, Noble Drew Ali left us in 1928. Right?
Huh?
Okay. He had that flag with photographs of him with it before that, right?
Right. November 1915. Noble Ali
And
was
he
over here
had
with.
it in 1913 when he started the Moor Science Temple of America,
That's right.
a civics organization that he was using to bypass the contracts so that his people can have they shit.
I wish I had one of them bombs to drop right now. Boom. Ah! Slap a nigga back in the head or something. Right there. Yeah. So Noble
Okay,
Ali
now,
had the flag first. Go ahead. Keep on going.
now, not only did he have the flag first, but he was the one that told us to watch them infiltrate him so we would know who did it.
Go ahead.
But that's an adept measure. If you still stuck in the dogma, you can't see what he's painting in the circle 7 in the chapters selected from the very key places he got them from.
Mm-hmm.
The Aquarian Gospel by Levi Dowling is the 18 missing years in the life of Jesus.
Go ahead.
Right? So, what is Aquarian? It's the Aquarian age. What is the gospel? The good news.
Circle 7.
Right?
Go ahead.
The holy instruction from the prophet comes from a text called "Unto thee I grant the economy of life."
Go ahead. This good.
Now backtrack it and put the titles of the books together.
Mm-hmm.
The holy, the Aquarian age brings out the truth, and it restores the proper economy to life. That's civics.
Go ahead.
That's civics. That's the root to civics. The economy of life is the balancing of the books between the debt and the debtor. You're not supposed to go to bed with somebody owing you or you owing somebody else.
Go ahead.
Right? That's tribal tradition on this land. But that's not the tradition of the ones who invaded us.
Go ahead.
So this how you know by the moves they making who is who know the lingo, who can read what the masters is telling us. Malcolm read a red herring so he can tell us all that the FBI and the New York police has thoroughly infiltrated the Nation of Islam. He didn't say kind of like, somewhat. He said thoroughly.
That's right. That's
right. That
he
had to run the red herring in order to get the information of who the dirty hen was. And he found out that the dirty hen was the same one Garvey fought. It's the same one that Noble Ali fought. It's the same one that Du Bois fought. The same ones that Frederick Douglass fought. The same ones Prince Hall fought. But we can't see them because they standing next to us on the podium while we giving the fiery oratory, and sometimes they the ones doing all the talking.
Go ahead.
But they all the time trying to lead us off the path to self. Because once you know yourself, they can't run that BS on you. Let's go back to the receipt, see what's next.
Go ahead. Yeah, but I know King George and them is my people them from my grandma and them. I trace my genetic trace back to them. So I'm kin to them. If King George and them dirty, I'm kin to the dirty Moors.
Well, I tell you this, you got to look for key names in your family and tell you if you've been one of the families that's been usurped.
Yeah. See,
we'll go into that another time because that's a whole topic to itself.
Yeah, you're right. Did you go over this one?
Yeah, we did this one. We was all the way to the one when you first came up. That one, that's where we was at, left off. Let's see what this say. The term, we talking about the term Moor.
Yeah. Damn, my bad, hold on. There you go.
Yeah. This is the rest of that same article. The term has also been used in Europe in broader, somewhat derogatory sense to refer to Muslims in general. You see where it say derogatory, right?
Yeah, derogatory means negative, right?
Yep, that's them niggas.
Yeah.
Derogatory, right?
Yeah.
Especially those of Arab or Berber descent, whether living in Spain or North Africa. During the colonial era, the Portuguese introduced the names Ceylon Moor and Indian Moors in South Asia and Sri Lanka, and the Bengali Muslims were also called Moors. Now look where they're at, Bengali Muslims.
Yep, Bengali.
Right. This is in, at the time, this was in Hindustan, which also included Pakistan.
Go ahead.
And parts of southern Iran was all part of, back then, Hindustan.
Go ahead.
Right. And so in the Philippines, now we on the islands of Far East Asia, the long-standing Muslim community, which predates the arrival of the Spanish, now self-identifies as the Moro people.
Go ahead.
And exonyms, meaning they didn't give it to themselves, introduced by Spanish colonizers due to their Muslim faith.
Go ahead.
Right? So they identify them as that in the paperwork. So now they identify themselves on the paperwork as that to be able to be lured into the system.
Go ahead.
Right?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And they chopping you up a little bit too. All right.
In 7-11, troops mostly formed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. You good. You good. Hit that like, y'all. Go ahead.
In 7-11, troops mostly formed by Moors from northern Africa led the Umayyad conquest of Hispania. You know where Hispania at?
Is Hispania? No. Is it in America?
That would be what's called modern day Spain, parts of France, all up in that area.
Hispaniola. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now I got you. Okay. I'm with you.
Right. Now, this is in the Iberian Peninsula. Then came to be known in classic Arabic as Al-Andalus. Now you will probably hear the term, if they're talking about Al-Andalus, they call them the Andes.
The Andes.
Mm-hmm. Which at its peak included most of Septimania and modern day Spain and Portugal.
Okay.
In 827, the Moors occupied Mazara on Sicily, developing that as a port. Now that's critical information right there. You see the year,
yeah,
right? And they developed it as a port. The reason why that's important, that's what they did in New Orleans. New Orleans was the intake. When the French sacked the port of New Orleans, that was an outpost for us to receive our visitors who came from around the world. That's where you come in to come to the Americas.
Yeah.
The on the land would dwell in. Go back over these materials. She'll go over that with and some of them cooking to show you maps.
And they chopping you hard.
It was
man.
The intake. I'm gonna go out and come back in, Elder.
All right. Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Let me make sure I got Roy when he come back. Oh yeah, so we're gonna crack heads. Hey, I need to go check out my like I say, everybody got their own perspective. I take in perspectives. That's what I do. I'm absorbing everybody's perspective. So if you don't get disgruntled, the brother's showing his receipts. So there you go.
Yeah, don't argue with me, argue with the receipts.
Yeah. Everything you saying to me makes sense, bro. You say everything you saying makes sense. It's other parts that I know too. Yeah, but you make sense to me. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's that's what it is. It's based on the pretext of logic. If it don't make sense, you'll be able to pull the anomaly out. Right. When you pull the anomaly out, then you can realign the information. That's how you get past the bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. They got other terms for these people too, like Etruscans. They call them Etruscans.
Yeah.
That might be older than that might that term there might be an old term too. Like it's called because that's what they
Well,
are.
right now we just focusing on the word Moor, because
Go
remember,
ahead. Go ahead.
according to the dogma, the Moor is an ancient term.
Yeah. Go ahead. Crack heads.
That's according to the dogma. But here it is, it's showing you the evolution from Maori to Mari to Moor, coming as an exonym, meaning thrust upon them,
Uh-huh.
right? They probably didn't
Uh-huh.
call themselves that back then. Most
Yeah.
likely they didn't, because the word was, you can't find it in ancient writings.
Baba said the only.
Here.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I want to cut off your flow, but you chopping up. Like sound like you pausing.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to add this part. Baba said that you right. Everything you saying is right because it makes sense. It line up what the master teacher said that these people didn't get called that until Shabazz and his people went around the coast of Africa, and they got called that by another people, and they said that these people was fire people. You know what I'm saying? That they ones of fire or ones of ore, which is mean fire, right? So you right
Go
on.
back
You
to
right on the
go
money.
back to the anime Avatar.
Go ahead.
Remember the four nation peoples, the fire
Yeah.
people,
Yeah, the
the
Fire Nation. They the
earthbenders, the
Go
airbenders, and
ahead.
the
Yeah,
waterbender.
I broke this down. Go
All right.
ahead.
Now, look at the zodiac chart.
Go
You
ahead.
got four elements control the zodiac: fire, air, water, and earth.
Go
The
ahead.
four, all four of the, all four of them each get three zodiac signs under them,
Go ahead.
right? As the temperature change, it gradually moves. So when you get to Scorpio, is water fixed position, ice.
Go ahead.
But Cancer is water is mutable, water,
Go ahead.
right? And what's the other one? Pisces.
Yeah, Pisces water.
Pisces is water in its gas form, is vapor, mist, steam, right? And that's because it's heat up by Aries. So it's all playing into the codes and unlocking what's known in Moorish science as the sacred drift, using the clock of destiny,
Go ahead.
right?
This is-
So when you start putting all these things together, you got to know the difference between the morals and the dogma.
Go ahead.
That's my area code 248.
Hey,
Pontiac.
shout out Denise. Denise. I can't say her
Genesian
name.
Bay.
Yeah, shout out Denise Yan Bay for the super chat. Yeah, it's probably you just help me out because they be holding all my Raw Hayes tape.
Let's go
Yeah,
back to the
they
receipt.
all
I
right, let's
want to
go.
try to get. I want to make sure that they understand that this is a catch term that was used specifically to group us from both sides of the water under the George Washington challenge.
I got you. It's gonna probably be this one. That's what we this one. Portuguese spoon. You still was reading this one? Oh yeah, you didn't finish this one. I don't think this one right here, the one we was
Go to the
on.
top. Is that the top?
Yeah, no, this the top right here. You got to start.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
got
Go
to
to
get
the
shot.
next. We read that. We read that whole thing.
You sure? Oh no, yeah,
We-
you did. Yeah, you did. Okay, all right, there you go, right there.
All
All
right.
right, let's get it.
Derived from the Latin word moris, the term was originally used to describe Berbers and other people from the ancient Roman province. Now, here we go now with the Roman connection.
Go ahead.
Because remember, all roads lead back to Rome,
Wrong. Go ahead. You own them. Get
right?
them.
So these people and other people from the ancient Roman province of Mauritania in what is now North Africa.
Go
Over
ahead.
time, it was increasingly applied to Muslims living in Europe.
Go ahead.
Beginning in the Renaissance, Moor and Blackamoor were also used to describe any person with dark skin.
Go ahead.
That's a catch term right there. It's describing the definition, the catch term, by using the actions of what the definition is.
You repeat that like them Hebrews on the corner. Read, read. Word, man. That's what they
So this is why we calling it a catch term. That second to the
it is.
last sentence.
Man, this is you on the point, Rod. You on point, dog.
Okay, now this is the Zenji right here, Tipatia, he's a dirty Moor, one of the dirtiest of the dirty.
Go ahead. Get him.
Right. Now look, it's a Tipatia was an Afro-Arab slave trader, ivory trader, explorer, plantation owner, and governor. He worked for a succession of the Sultan of Zanzibar. Tipatia traded in slaves for Zanzibar's clove plantations.
Get a look at them. This is what they look like. I'm telling you. That's what they look like, Rod.
Uncle Joe.
This dude right here was selling more
Look,
people.
go to Google.
Mm-hmm.
Type in the richest slave trader in history. Watch what come up.
John Onsfield. You want me to, and in the world? I need to build in the world, right? In the world.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me, Rod?
For the longest, African history.
Okay, African history.
Just take out history and put Africa.
Okay, all right. There you go, right there, Rod. That's it. There you go. The guy. The tip.
Now click
TIP.
images.
TIP. Tip. That's
This is what's associated with him. This is what's associated with him.
That's right.
Right?
Oh. Rod, you could not. Hey, Rod. Yo. They cut Rod out. What a... Hey, I shout out Snake Doctor for the super chat. There you go, right there. Man, hey, look. Some kind of way they don't want Rod. Well, it's already he not already put it out already. This tape right here is gonna be one of the number one hits, man. Out of the because you really put the fine on. This right here is good, bro. This is a good one. This is a good one. You put the final, the final move on them. Look, like I say. So all these are catch, like that's facts, man. Ain't no getting around it. It's been a catch term, even based on what Bible taught us. It's a catch term, you know.
The word nigga catch term too.
Uh-huh.
The word nigga catch term. If they come from the Middle East, they're saying nigga.
Mm-hmm.
If they red, they're a red nigga. If they rich, they're a rich nigga. And if they poor, they're a poor nigga. But they ain't gonna never stop being a nigga under the classification when they catch term, grouping them all together.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right? So we understand that they stole our tribal names when they start educating our children. We use professions, the ones of us who had the knowledge, to ascribe last name according to professions. The Goldsmith family was the ones responsible for weighing the gold for Big Mama and making sure it's all there, counting it, and to make jewelry out of it when she asked for it. We didn't wear a lot of gold jewelry. Right? So it was normally attached to a celebration, yeah. And after the celebration, this is why it's not a lot of it around. They would melt the gold back down to put it back the coffers because we didn't just walk around every day with gold necklaces on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We made necklaces out of sinews, and we beaded the sinews with the cowrie shells or whatever you beating them with, depending on with the turquoise stones and different stuff that we use.
Go ahead.
Right. Then you have just the flat name Smith. Right. The Smiths was the handyman. They was able to be able to go to any other Smith and get a job.
Go ahead.
Right, because they were all Smiths. Now you had what's known as blacksmiths. The blacksmiths was the ones who used to make the wrought iron gates.
Okay.
Right. These is clues to tracing family lineage by cultural misappropriation of an enemy and the ability to trace ourselves back through what we did.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The last name Shaw is short for Shoshone.
Go ahead.
And Upshaw is Upper Shoshone because it had two different sides of the Shawnee Creek. The one from one side was the upper one from the other side was the lower Shoshone.
Go ahead.
So you got the Upshaws from the upper Shoshone, and then you have the Shaws that's Shoshone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you have the last name Rivers, Rivers is directly tied to Mississippian culture. That's the great mother river that all the other rivers feed into. And at the base of the Mississippi, you have Louisiana, New Orleans. Right? So down there was the intake. We used to ride riverboats. You ever heard of a riverboat gambler?
Go ahead. Yeah.
We had but we use a lot of rafts, which I would call them today pontoons. Back in the day, they called them rafts, and they was huge. And you could have a wang dang doodle on there. And if it was going to be bad weather, they'd pitch a tent over it to move and navigate up and down the Mississippi River. That was the bloodline of the land. That's how the Mississippian clans became one of the most important clans, because they was the caretakers of the Mississippi River. Now they just poisoned the river, but we can clean it up. We just need them to leave.
Go ahead. We
gotta let them have a little tantrum on the way out.
You cut out, bro.
What you say?
Yeah. Hey, we got a guy. I want to address this guy, man. Ali Baba. I want to see what he's talking about. He said that we follow. Since they're let's pull him up on the screen, man, because we like to get we head on, we hands on. Y'all follow and accept false makeup follows. Wonder what he mean by that. Is he coming at us or he talking to the crowd?
I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. We cashing in receipts. He can.
What I'm saying.
He can fight with the receipts.
That's what I'm saying. So, hey, this guy Baba, hey man,
he might just be. If he, I ain't really too much concerned about him. He's just a distraction to me. I'm trying to tell my people. I'm trying to tell my people how we get our shit back. I don't give a fuck about what he talking about.
Yeah, some people, we understand your disgruntledness. Your disgruntledness. Hey,
Look,
hey, man. Hey, the
it's
brother
a possibility.
Listen,
it's a possibility he might not have been as high up. He might not have been as high up in operation as he thought he was.
Oh shit!
See, some people look. If you talking over somebody's head, that means that they're going to have to come up to get it, because I ain't dumbing down to bring it. Your feelings might get hurt when you discover new information. That's a personal matter that we all deal with personally. My feelings was hurt when I found out them niggas look like us.
Right.
Because I couldn't understand for the life of me how somebody that looked like me could be the cause of me being in this condition we in.
Right.
Right? But they there. They killed Clarence 13X.
Mm-hmm.
Shot Martin Luther King Mama in church.
That's facts.
Them wasn't no pink motherfuckers. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not guessing.
We
I'm
expose
just
them.
giving people. I'm just giving the people the visual receipts so they can see exactly what I'm talking about, so they know that I ain't just pulling this out my ass.
Right?
Matter of fact, we got any more receipts?
Yeah, we got some more receipts, but it seems like when I bring the
Let's
receipts
go
up,
over some more receipts.
that's when it chop
Yeah,
you up
let's
real
go
bad.
over. Look, even
Look,
if you don't like the other people that they'll be able to
yes,
follow the information and they'll be able to make their own mind up. But that's gonna make his job of using dogma to convert them more difficult.
it sounds like it's chopping you up more when I go on to the share and the screen joint. That's what it. I think there's something going on with it. But they don't want this one to go. Here goes some more receipts you got, Rod.
Okay, this
This
is
joint here.
Ellis Island.
Okay.
What important right? So once the setting up the
Yeah.
colonies,
Hey, Rod, it's chopping you
you
up
take
bad.
left.
Can't even hear nothing you saying. Rod. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yo. That shit just cut him off, man. Damn. See, they know he better drop something right now. They playing games. Okay. Hey, you there, Rod?
Yeah, can you hear me better?
Man, you clear as a bell now. I wonder what the heck. It seemed like when I share my screen now, go ahead.
Yeah. So Ellis Island was the intake for the Europeans that was being subjugated in Europe. Now
Hmm.
remember, the war with the Moors and the Irish, the Moors salted potato fields and caused the Great Potato Famine.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You cracking
Right, by
head.
using seawater on the land, it took so many years for the land to cleanse itself. Right now, look, Native
Right.
Americans in the early colonial years, children born of one. Oh, this is the one drop of blood, elder.
Yeah.
This one.
Go ahead. You want
This
me
is the
to?
one drop of
All right, go
blood.
ahead.
Right. So, in
Okay.
order to tie yourself to the clans, you needed a drop of blood. If you don't get this drop of blood, you won't be related to nobody over here.
Go ahead.
Right. So, this is the doctrine about the one drop of blood. So let's go
Okay.
to the top of the page and read it.
Okay, I got you.
It's saying in the early colonial years, children born of one indigenous and one non-native parent usually had a white father and an indigenous mother. This was largely due to the majority of the early colonists being male. You see that?
Go ahead.
They
Go
wasn't
ahead.
bringing women with them.
That's right.
As many Native American tribes had matrilineal kinship systems. This is critical to the culture.
Right here. Yeah.
Matrilineal kinship system means you related through the motherline first,
Go ahead. Mitochondrial DNA.
mitochondrial DNA. They considered the children to be born to the mother's family and clan, right? If they were raised in the culture, they were considered members of the community and therefore fully Native American.
Hey man, damn Rod, when you just said this, man, I ain't mean to stop you or nothing. But my now you just made sense of what my grandma said back in the day before this white man came. We used to the man used to leave his tribe and go to the woman's tribe. She told me that.
Yeah, it say that in the Bible. A man shall leave his mother and father, cleaving to his wife, they should become one flesh. He's joining her family. She's not joining his.
Exactly.
Mhm. Prior to colonization and still in traditional communities, the idea of determining belonging by degree of blood was and is unheard of. Native American tribes did not use blood quantum law until the government introduced the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934. Look at the year, Elder.
1934.
What year Elijah Muhammad started teaching?
1934, right?
Three.
Hey,
19,
three. That's when
1933.
when the stock market crashed. This when the stock market is about to crash. When Noble Jew Ali, like doing in
This was after
1933.
the crash. The crash was in 29.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Among patrilineal tribes. Now notice they say patrilineal tribes because we did have tribes that was patrilineal,
Go ahead.
such as the Omaha. Historically, a child born to an Omaha mother and a white father could belong officially to the Omaha tribe only if the child were formally adopted into it by a male citizen. In contemporary practice, tribal law around citizenship and parentage can vary widely between nations, which means between clans.
Okay. Go ahead. One drop of blood.
This is the one drop rule. It is a social and legal principle of racial classification that was historically prominent in the United States in the 20th century. It asserted that any person with even one ancestor of black ancestry, now notice they're using black now
Right.
in the classification. They're not using native no more,
Right. Go ahead.
right? One drop of black blood is considered black, Negro, or colored in historical terms. The concept became codified into the law of some states in the early 20th century. It was associated with the principle of invisible blackness. See that?
Yeah.
That developed after the long history of racial interaction in the South.
Go ahead.
They mean in the raping of the women on the plantations, but they weren't plantations. They was villages. They was Big Mama's house.
Yeah. Go
They
ahead.
just took Mama out and said it's the big house.
Go ahead.
Right? This is why they was marrying the women so they can take over Big Mama house,
Go ahead.
which had included the hardening of slavery as a racial caste and later segregation. It is an example of hypodescent, the automatic assignment of children of a mixed union between different socioeconomic and ethnic groups.
Hold on. It blew it down. Hold on. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Damn. It jumped off.
That was it.
Oh, that was it right there. So
Mm-hmm.
this
That was on
one
the last paragraph.
right here. This part right here.
The one right before that, I was up to racial class and later the segregation. It is an example of hypodescent, the automatic assignment of children of a mixed union between different socioeconomic or ethnic groups to the group with the lower status, regardless of proportion of ancestry in different groups. So in other words, it was the way to declassify. When I mean I mean to make you lesser in the classification,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's saying right here is between different socioeconomic or ethnic groups. Socioeconomic means financial strata.
Go ahead.
The
Go
money,
ahead.
the money base, the family with the
Yeah.
money versus the haves versus the have-nots.
Go ahead.
It say the one drop rule is defunct in law in the United States and was never codified into federal law,
Go ahead.
right? But the origin of this go back to the Sumerian tablets when they was talking about the breeding program of the Lulu Amalu.
Go ahead.
And they realized that they had screwed up and they was telling them that the only remedy was to give them a drop of Anunnaki blood.
Go ahead.
This is the same story.
Go ahead. Playing
It's
out.
just written now. Instead of the being in Sumeria, the Earthborn versus the Anunnaki, or the Lulu Amalu versus the Anunnaki. Now it's the indigenous organic people to this land versus the people that came over here from Al Maghrib.
Go ahead.
So what we look at, no matter how you look at it, the story is playing in a cyclic formation throughout history. That means that we stuck in a time loop of repeat.
Okay.
The culture gonna change on the surface, but under the bottom, it's going to be still the same force at play.
Go ahead.
Right now, go to the top. Let's see what this is. Wonder why I said. Oh, okay. Let's go. Let's read this. This is the next page. Among the colonial slave societies, the United States was nearly unique in developing the one drop rule. It derived from the Southern slave culture shared by other societies. You see that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
It was shared by other societies. In the aftermath of the American Civil War, emancipation of slaves, and Reconstruction. In the late 19th century, Southern whites regained political power and restored white supremacy, passing Jim Crow laws and establishing racial segregation by law. In the 20th century, during the Black Power movement, Black race-based groups claimed all people of any African ancestry as Black in a reverse way to establish political power. Remember in the beginning, I said this is going to turn out to be political.
Right.
This is where it's coming political now, because now we dealing with it in the realm of politics, but we also looking at historical context of social differences between two groups of people.
Go ahead.
Right. So in colonial Spanish America, many soldiers and explorers took indigenous women as wives.
Right.
And that's why I was telling somebody that asked me about the brighter skin Arawaks, Tainos, etc. And I was telling them that a lot of that was because they had married people from another ethnic stock.
Go ahead.
Right? Because the original Arawaks, they kind of look similar to us. Right? But now they look a broad range of what we call phenotypes due to amalgamation with foreigners. Right?
Go ahead.
Now, it says that native-born Spanish women were always a minority. That means that native-born women from Spain.
Go ahead.
That means the two Spanish people coming there and having a baby, because they was mostly men coming over here because they was warriors, soldiers.
Go ahead.
The colonists developed an elaborate classification and caste system that identified the mixed race descendants of blacks, Amerindians, and whites by different names related to appearance and known ancestry. Right now, when they say related to appearance, that becomes important to understand the classification is taking place as it's taking place by those who were marrying into the peoples. Racial caste only depended on ancestry or skin color, also could be raised or lowered by the person's financial status or class. So the only way that you could come over the deficit and be dark is by becoming rich.
Right.
And we all know this is why America is called the Great Melting Pot.
Go ahead.
The melting pot is a monocultural metaphor for the heterogeneous society becoming more homogeneous. We got to look some words up. People don't know what that stuff means.
They cutting you up bad, man.
Heterogeneous society and homogeneous. The different elements melting together with a common culture.
Yo, Rod. You hit mute, Rod. Dang, what the heck just happened? Hey, there you go, right there. Hey,
I don't know
Rod.
what. They giving me the business, Elder.
Man, this tape right here, I'm telling you, I know this tape fire. That's why, yeah, I know it, man. I'm telling you, because this right here, this tape is a classic, bro. And they chop the key stuff that you saying. They chop you right when you about to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So you were breaking down these terms like monoculture. Cultural means like one culture, like right? Mono means one, right?
Right. One
Yeah,
culture.
yeah.
Right. It's a metaphor of one culture, the heterogeneous and the homogeneous. It's going to explain it as it goes. The different elements melting together with a common culture, an alternative being a homogeneous society becoming more heterogeneous.
Oh, hold on. Damn, what the hell just happened? Something just clicked me. Oh, damn. All right, yeah, right here. We right here. Swank it just a little bit. Boom, right there.
Okay,
Oh,
a
yeah.
homogeneous society becoming more heterogeneous through the influx of foreign elements with different cultural backgrounds, possessing the potential to create disharmony within the previous culture. Historically, it is often used to describe the cultural integration of immigrants to the United States. So, what this is basically saying is that the culture has to absorb the foreigner in order for the foreigner to be accepted by the original culture that was already there.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
homegrown culture is the homogenous culture. The heterogeneous culture is the culture that's coming to face you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So hetero means face to two things that's on equal footing or on different sides of or something,
Mm-hmm.
one to one, right? Okay, so then it goes into the exact term melting pot came into general usage in the United States after it was used as a metaphor describing a fusion of nationalities, cultures.
Hold on.
Hmm.
Okay. Shit. Oh, it just switched. Man, what the heck? My bad, bro.
You good, Elder? Part of life. You gotta just roll with it and see what we do the
Yeah,
best we
yeah,
can with
yeah.
what we got.
Hey, we going hard though. You cracking heads and twisting caps back all the way
Mm.
back.
The desirability of assimilation in the melting pot model has been rejected by proponents of multiculturalism. What multiculturalism is everybody stay to themselves among their like Chinatown, Greek
Uh huh.
town,
Uh huh. Like the
right?
Jews,
But
Jewish
when you
town.
from
Yeah.
right, but when you from the land, all that belong to you too. You part of their culture too, because they on your land.
Right. Go ahead.
Right? This is why the clash between heterogeneous and homogeneous becomes a conflict when
Okay.
they want to become a multicultural group, separating each group and classifying them. The tribes didn't believe in classifying people. You either human or you not.
Right. Go ahead.
We ain't gonna throw nobody away like trash over here,
Yeah. Right. Go ahead.
right? So, the multiculturalism who have suggested alternative metaphors to describe the current American society, such as mosaic, salad bowl, or kaleidoscope. These just terms
Yeah.
in which different cultures mix but remain distinct in some aspect. Said the melting pot continues to be used as an assimilation model in vernacular and political discourse along the more inclusive models of assimilation in the academic debates on identity,
Mm-hmm.
adaptation, and integration of immigrants into various political, social, and economic spheres. Right?
Yeah.
So this is how they determine and who do business in our community.
Okay. Go ahead.
In the 18th and 19th centuries, the metaphor of a crucible or smelting pot was used to describe the fusion of the different nationalities, ethnicities, and cultures. It was used together with concepts of the United States as an ideal republic and a city up on a hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's called a citadel, by the way,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or a new promised land. It
Mhm.
was a metaphor for the idealized process of immigration and colonization by which different nationalities, cultures, and races, a term that could encompass nationality, ethnicity, and racist views of humanity, were to blend into a new virtuous community, and it was connected to the utopia vision of the emergence of an American new man. While melting was in common use, the exact term melting pot came into the general usage in 1908 after the premiere of the play The Melting Pot by Israel Zangwill.
Wow, notice the name. Like
Mhm.
Jews.
You caught that up. The
Yeah.
first use in American literature of the concepts. What's that? I can't see the top word.
Hold on.
The
Okay.
concept of immigrants melting into the receiving culture are found in the writings of J. Hector St. John de Crevoiseau in his Letters from an American Farmer. He writes in response to his own question, what then is the American, this new man? That the American is one who, leaving behind him all his ancient prejudices and manners, receives new ones from the new mode of life he has embraced, the government he obeys, and the new rank he holds. He becomes an American by being received in the broad lap of the great alma mater. You see what that is?
Alma mater. Yeah, I heard this before. Go ahead.
Right. The word mater mean mother. The word
Yeah.
alma mean great.
Yeah, go ahead.
They talking about Big Mama now.
Yeah, go ahead. You
Now
ain't
go
slick.
back up for a minute because I want to point something out.
Okay.
It said America leaving behind him all his ancient prejudices and manners, receives new ones from the new mode of life he has embraced, the government he obeys, and the new rank he holds. Right? So they had to give all of that hate stuff up, but they want to hold on to that doctrine of conquest.
Go ahead.
He becomes an American by being received by the alma mater. Here, individuals of all nations are melted into a new race of men whose
Go ahead.
labors and posterity will one day cause great changes in the world.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right? This is telling you what kind of association they would have to have with the organic people of the land if you're paying attention.
Right? Go ahead.
Right? Because in order for them to be able to remain on this land, you can't have that hate shit. You can't come with that hate shit.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We had to win the Conjure War, right? And we gonna round down from here, Elder.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Go
in
ahead.
this Conjure War, it was 200 years to determine what side of the water we came from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm old Mississippi clay dirt walking around in human form.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the land. And I can see the people that's not from the land that don't know the culture because they can't read the messages that the elders left. That if you got the blood and the right, you will be able to assimilate these messages and be able to tell the people what the ancestors has been telling us all this time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and I study history with a critical scientific perspective. I don't take sides.
Yeah. Hey, your
I
shit is
learned to
good.
stop taking sides when I found out that the whole time the white man ain't white.
Go ahead. Go
And he
ahead.
wrote this protocols of the wise men of Zion is the doctrine of white
Go,
supremacy.
go ahead.
The enforcement manual is called Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike.
I got that. Go ahead.
The defense system to this conjure is written by Dr. Neely Fuller.
I can't put that one. Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
that's funny.
look, they believe that. Don't believe that. It ain't too many of us. It's probably more of us that don't have pale skin than it is pale skins that don't have some us.
Yeah, that's right, Rod. Man, a lot of these people thinking they white folks, they really ain't. They take your blood type. You got that one drop. I see them all
Right.
the time. Yeah, I know they with us. I know they
Hey,
part of
type
us.
type this last thing in, and we're gonna roll out after this one.
All right. Let's roll. We had 2 hours anyway. Well, an hour 40. This is good. Those are good ones. They roll. They get a lot of plays. Those hour and 30 ones. All right, so let me type this in on Google. What you got, Rod?
Hold on 1 second, Adam. I gotta remember what I was doing. My mind started drifting away on something else. Um, type in shit. What was I talking about before I told you to pull that up?
You was talking about. You said the last thing we're gonna close out, man. I got threw off, man. You said we're gonna close out on this. Pull the internet up.
When we
And
was
you,
talking about the one drop doctrine and all that stuff, right?
yeah. Hey,
And
somebody. I would say somebody drop in the chat. Where we left off with right then. Cause my mind just went blank. Cause I'm doing 3, 4 things at one time. I'm looking at the chat on my phone, doing the computer, making sure. Says, dang, glad to overstand this.
I remember. Type in what is passing in Black America mean?
Racial passion occurs when a person who is classified as a member of a racial group is accepted or perceived past as a member of another racial group. You got that right?
Yep. So all of these people that's supposed to have been made from the plantations in the South being raped by these pale men
Mm-hmm.
came to the North in the Great Migration
Mm-hmm.
and married into the what we call broader white culture.
Mm-hmm.
All of these was marrying the people that was coming in from Ellis Island because they already had their drop of blood,
Go ahead.
Trojan horses,
Go ahead.
right? So in the end, the word Moor was the catch term
Go
to
ahead.
classify us under so we wouldn't know what side of the water we came from.
Go ahead.
Noble Drew Ali gave us the spoilers by telling us key information. This key information is reiterated from a different perspective through Garvey, through Elijah, through Malachi,
Go ahead.
right? So we got 2 off the red house and 2 off the blue house. That's a 4-corner shuffle.
Go ahead.
The 4-corner shuffle flips us what we call the shrine. And the shrine is the sacred place of the great mother. Put her back on her throne. That's all we ask.
That's all we asking. Like Tupac said.
Stop letting them tell you God is a man. God is a woman, the great mother of all creation, who birthed creation from her uterus. When you show your
Say
man
that
being
then.
born with a uterus, then we can talk.
Say that then. Say that. Say it. I'm telling you. Hey, shout out this sister right here, man. She showed us some love tonight, man.
Oh yeah, she where her mouth is literally.
Yeah, cause she got the L and the Bay on there
Literally.
too. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
You know what that means,
could you
right?
elaborate on that? That's what I was gonna say. Elaborate on that a little bit. The L, the Bay, the day. You know,
Okay,
the 5 drop.
those were positions. The L's
Mhm.
were the ones who came on the waters. Those
Mhm.
were the lawgivers from the
Okay.
admiralty jurisdiction. The Bays
Okay.
were the land governors. Their
Go ahead.
jurisdiction was the land.
Go ahead.
She having both names means she got the right to stand with 1 foot on the land and 1 foot in the water.
That's right.
And then
Crackhead.
she can get law on both sides as a matriarch. Soon as she get to the top position in the Moorish women's consulate, she got the blood from the land, and she got the jurisdiction of the invaders.
Go ahead.
That's how Madam that's how Empress Verdiasi was able to beat him.
Go ahead.
She had to raise her level on both sides of the law.
The
She had
Bay
to
and
know
the
her
L.
tribal side, and then she had to master the admiralty side. That gives her automatic victory. But you notice they never paid up.
Go ahead. Show didn't.
Why they didn't pay up? Because she didn't break the conjure. Right?
Okay, go ahead,
Why she
Rod.
didn't break the conjure? The conjure was it was us, the chiefs, the males. The women all the time. The women was always in harmony because the women was always from the earth tribes.
Go ahead.
So that's why the Muslims women consulate that was already doing the same thing that the MGTGCC doing under Noble Drew Ali and under Marcus Garvey. It was the women nurse brigade
Go ahead.
that was doing the work, but they was all the time reorganizing the people on the land so that we could figure out how to get the matriarchy back in power on the land,
Go ahead.
because they used the crash site, Plymouth Rock. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
That's right.
Plymouth is the Mayflower. The Mayflower crashed in the Hudson Bay by DC. I mean, not the Hudson Bay, but whatever the hell that bay is over there, right? By DC, and they declared it a crash site.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once they declared a crash site, the land surveyors, because we had war in Florida,
That's right.
we had war in Louisiana Territory with the French
Go ahead.
when all that stuff go on. Now the English is doing this now. This is the English. They all of these is dark-skinned European melanated people. And they was handling people as what they call temple hands.
Go ahead.
Them the ones who sit around in the lodges and they are not allowed to participate, but they work for the master. That's the story that Prince Paul's telling us.
Go ahead.
Right?
Say
And
they knew
all the rituals and the rites.
Okay, go ahead.
Because they knew the rules and rights, when we go into the Conjure War, they create something called the Garden Plot ended up being headed at its end by George Herbert Walker Bush through his CIA connection. That's his Illuminati affiliation. Right? So when they did that, they started persecuting both sides of us. The ones that came and the one who was here. And that's your Jim Crow laws.
Right. Right.
That's when they start really getting in good. You know, so now y'all know the term Moor is a catch term.
Good job, bro.
It's all this time in your face when you step back and look at it, taking sides.
They just cut Rod out. They just cut Rod out. They look. He finished them off though. They just kicked him off, but he would have come back probably. But they messed. They using that jammer, man. That signal, that jam signal device. Every time he get on with me or somebody that a page that's hype, they use that jam. They jam his signal, and so they just got. I don't know what just happened with it, bro. Waiting on Raw to come back. They jamming the signal, man. Hey, is it cut it off? Are we still live? Hey, shout out everybody in the building, man. They jamming the signal, bro. This that crazy stuff, bro. Raw got cut out. If he don't come back in like the next 1 minute, we're gonna end the show. But yeah, this right here was a fire one, y'all. Because I knew the term more. Here you go, right here. There you go, man. They look raw right when you saying the pivot point of the shit. They say, oh, we're gonna jam him. They using that signal jammer, man. I'm telling you, I know how they work. They using that signal jammer. Because I'll say you clear, and then as soon as you start saying something that the key words, they jam the signal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got the point across.
Yeah, you got the point across though. That's what I was telling them. You
The
did a
word
good
more
job,
is a
bro.
catch term.
Damn sure is. And that agrees with what Baba was trying to tell us years ago about
He
somebody else
gave us
called us that.
he gave us the same rundown. He just used a different set of receipts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody else called you that. That's what he said. Not we didn't call ourselves that. Somebody else called us that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
an
So,
exonymic.
so where do we go from here with the people that like the term more and like
They
to
can
call
keep
us?
look. They can keep it as long as they get the imposters out. Because it's a lot of tribes now that fall under the Red House that uses the term more to self-identify. They
Yeah,
got a right to call themselves whatever they call themselves, Green Spaceship Martian, if they want to.
that's right. That's in the rights of indigenous people and the rights of the human rights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
self-identification is your right,
yeah,
right? So I don't care about what they call themselves. I just want them to clean their house up. Angel Bay gonna take care of it.
yeah.
I'm
You
just
cracked up.
telling them what's taking place so that the righteous Moors can see where the dirty Moors at. Don't say nothing yet, though. Wait for
Yeah,
Angel Bay to tell y'all to move.
yeah. It, we got this on lock, Rod. You did a good job tonight, Rod. That's another one. In the famous words of DJ Khaled, another one. Hey, look, I'm gonna make some shorts from this joint because on some key points that you said because you said some key pivot points here, man. The main thing is getting Big Bad Mama back her chair, man.
That's all I care about. I don't care who
Yeah,
feelings get hurt.
yeah.
Fuck
Big
your
Mama.
feelings.
Yeah,
Put Big Mom back on her throne. Fuck your
yeah,
feelings.
yeah.
And I'm gonna leave it at that.
I don't know. You could, hey, on that, you could drop the mic and walk off stage after that, Roy. You drop the mic, walk right, just turn and walk off, man. This game over. Hey,
Take us
man,
home, Elder.
we out, man. Islam, shalom alaikum, assalamu alaikum, hotel, peace and love. I should divine love throughout the boundless universe to all. Wadu.
What do?